Love to heal a nation is the greatest power. A wind of destruction is blowing over this land. And now the earth is trembling with man's oppression of man. Now the time comes to sit down and rediscover what's life. Show the world the true meaning of real love, power, not strife. Bring down the power of love, I say. The power of love, I say, is the greatest power. Stop hell and damnation. Love to heal a nation. Put our hands on the fire and cleanse the wicked right now. All of them who does worship, greed and vanity must bow. Unity is the banner, so come together, I say. And this love is for freedom, it's growing stronger each day. Bring down the power of love, I say. The power of love, I say, is the greatest power. Stop hell and damnation. Love to heal a nation. So rejoice in a rhythm of celebration. Come on. Lift your voice with a feeling of satisfaction as one. And let we move with a purpose, all freedom lovers. Hold tight. Stepping out of the darkness with one direction inside. Bring down the power of love, I say. The power of love, I say, is the greatest power. Stop hell and damnation. Love to heal a nation.
I want to speak on how it affects.
Bring down the power of love, I say. The power of love, I say. Stop hell and damnation.
Hotep, Ekaro, and greetings to all. This is the Anu Asafo show, where Pan-Africanism meets African traditional spirituality, with your host, Sister Onilade, Brother Eshu Lokan, and me, Brother Wole Mango Ifa. And this week, we are pleased to have another educational and entertaining episode for you of the Anu Asafo lined up. But first, as always, here is the African sketch.
We are an African people. We will remember the humanity, glory, and suffering of our ancestors. We will honor the struggles of our elders. We will strive to bring new values and new life for our people. We will have peace and harmony among ourselves. We will be loving, sharing, and creative. We will work, study, and listen so we may learn, and learn so we may teach. We will cultivate self-reliance. We will struggle to resurrect and unify our homeland. We will raise many children for our nation. We will have discipline, patience, devotion, and courage. We will live as models to provide new directions for our people. We will be free and self-determining. We are an African people, and we will win, and we will win, and we will win. Asheo and Hotep.
Adupoyo, and thank you for attending this weekend's Enlightenment and Transformation Network show, the Anu Asafo, where we present views from a variety of sources, but personally endorse none, leaving you, the online listening audience, to make up your own minds.
It is actually really great to be here this weekend, and as I stated before, I am Omila Day, and we first and foremost want to thank our listening audience for tuning in to another episode of Anu Asafo, and we here at Anu Asafo would like to welcome one of our new hosts, Ashulo Khan. Welcome, Ashulo Khan.
Adupoy, thank you so much for having me. I thank my Ori and Ola Dumare and my Egun for supporting me and blessing me with this opportunity. So I'm excited to be here. Okay.
Well, brother, we're excited to have you here as well. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Brother Eshu.
Well, happily married with 5 beautiful children. I'm originally from Maryland. I now reside in Atlanta, Georgia. I am a comedian by trade and passion. And let's see, well, that's pretty much in a nutshell what I am and, who I am. I'm a student of life, always willing to learn new things and share things that I've learned. And, I always try to bring humor and, great times to anything that I'm a part of. So that's
we appreciate you being here. Sister Omilade?
Yes. So, Ashulo Khan, if you would kind of want to introduce our guest for us, that would be great.
All right, excellent. Well, this weekend on the New Asafo show, the featured guest is no one other than Curtis, the Illuminated One Davis. Curtis Davis is the founder of TON, the Occult Network, and the founder and host of Occult Science Radio. He was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. Curtis began his study of the occult sciences at the tender age of 18. After having experienced Christianity and Islam, he searched for something more that led him to study silver mind control and the works of Nathaniel Branden. He says, after learning the truth about self-examination, I could no longer turn back to the world of organized, distorted doctrine. His studies took him further into the works of Dr. Connie Zweig and Aleister Crowley, as well as the Kemetic sciences. He then decided to share his knowledge with the world via Occult Science Radio. He launched in April 2008. In the age of digital content, Curtis then wanted to take his knowledge, the occult sciences to the next level and founded the Occult Network Incorporated. He says, I will never forget the significance of TON's mission due to the fact that the company was officially incorporated on June 25th, 2009, the exact same day as Michael Jackson's death. We're going to have the honor and privilege to have him on the show and have speak with Curtis himself. Brother Wole?
Ashe. However, let's first take a short break as usual to give our audience a chance to get their heads on straight and get prepared to take some notes from this most enlightening guest. And so while you all get into that, we will return from this. Sister Omilade, please Bring us home.
For all those in the Rhode Island area, please check out our Chief Jegna, H. Yuya Asan Anu, at Positive New Beginnings on Saturday, February 8th from 2 to 4 p.m., where he will be hosting a workshop on self-actualization with the cosmic forces of West Africa. In this workshop, you will learn how to self-actualize through the universal energies that govern the laws and character of the cosmos. This workshop is a continuation of the Unleashing of Cosmic Forces of West Africa series that is currently being enjoyed by thousands of listeners on Chief Yuya's popular Blog Talk radio show, Enlightenment and Transformation. At this workshop, 15-minute readings will be offered for $20, as well as the Phase 1 spiritual training class will be offered at 50% off for the workshop Self-Actualization with the Cosmic Forces of West Africa. The workshop is Saturday, February 8th from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Positive New Beginnings, which is located at 877 Broadway, East Providence, Rhode Island. The cost of this event is $13 at the door. However, as a special discount for those who RSVP on meetup.com and pay in advance, your entrance fee will only be $10. The meetup site is www.meetup.com/African-spirit-workers. Be prepared to change your life through aligning your spiritual faculties with their corresponding cosmic archetype. Meet Chief Jegna H. Yuya Asan Anu at Positive New Beginnings on Saturday, February 8th from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, located at 877 Broadway, East Providence, Rhode Island, for the workshop Self-Actualization with the Cosmic Forces of West Africa. Greetings one and all, and thank you for listening to A New Asafo this Sunday. I am now bringing you the Anu Nation announcements on this beautiful segment of A New Asafo. We want to first thank you for tuning in once again and being a supporter and participant in this journey of the Asafo as dictated and governed by our ancestral call. We would also like to thank our Chief Jegna, Haru Yuya Asan Anu of the Anu Spiritual Order and Head Instructor of the Sedulu House Spiritual Center for his continued guidance and support. Look out for the new student forum that will be created on the seduluhouse.com website. That is SADULUHOUSE.com. This forum will be exclusive to the students of the Anu Spiritual Training Class Series. Chief Jegna Haru Yuya Asan Anu will also offer free as well as supplemental classes to registered students and the general public. Also, if you are an Mfundi and would like to participate on the Anu Asafo show, please respond to the link on the Anu Spiritual Training Facebook page or email omilade at seduluhouse.com. That is OMILADE at seduluhouse.com. Also, in other happenings, please check out the newest release from Anu Publishing, Natural Hair for Young Women, in which Felicia Terrell Anu discusses holistic approaches to natural hair care for young women. Natural hair care for young women can be found at anu-bookstore.com. That is ANU-BOOKSTORE.com. Also, look out for Anu Publishing's forthcoming book on shell readings, which will cover the Sacred 16 Major Odu and the casting of the Meriden Lagoon. As always, please make sure to tune in to Chief Jegna Haru Yuya Asan Anu during his Foundational Fridays broadcast, which airs at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Blog Talk Radio. If you or someone you know has a background in spiritual sciences and is committed to bringing a broad spectrum of spiritual and metaphysical information to an international audience, please contact us at anewnation.org. That is ANUNATION.org to become a co-host for the channel Enlightenment and Transformation. That concludes our announcements for this Sunday, and now back to Anu Asafo. Greetings. A New Nation is pleased to announce stores in the New York area who carry books from A New Publishing, such as Grasping the Root of Divine Power and Natural Hair for Young Women. In the Manhattan area, the following stores carry titles by A New Publishing: African Paradise, Bola International Boutique, Edgar Casey, Bay's Beauty Salon Unisex, Quest Books and Gifts, Integral Yoga, and Sisters Uptown Bookstore and Cultural Center. In Brooklyn, the following stores also carry titles from A New Publishing: Botanica, Santeria, and Magic, Nicholas Brooklyn, Official Connection, and Universal Botanica. If you are in the New York area, please check out these stores, and as always, remember to visit us at anew-bookstore.com. That is ANU-BOOKSTORE.com to purchase the latest and upcoming titles from A New Publishing. And now, back to our segment.
And we are back. It's currently 15 minutes after the hour, and you are listening to the Anu Asafo Show, where Pan-Africanism meets African traditional spirituality, with your host, Brother Eshulo Khan, Sister Omilade, and myself, Brother Wole Mongo Ifa.
Yes, and so we are sitting in the New Asafo studios this weekend, and before we actually get to our guest, Curtis Illuminated One Davis, I kind of wanted to know, has anybody heard about this fake snow in Atlanta?
Oh, my God. I'm sorry, yes. We had probably less than 2 inches of snow down here, and the whole city of Atlanta shut down. I'm talking about, it was crazy. You know, I'm originally from Maryland, so I'm used to driving in the snow, but apparently, it doesn't snow that much down here in Atlanta. It took me about 6 hours just to drive 15 miles. Yes, it was crazy. The city was definitely not prepared for snow.
Right.
It was slipping and sliding everywhere, and no disrespect for those that, can't drive in the snow, but a little tip for you. When you're driving and you're going into a turn, please do not slam on your brakes. What you do, you have to ease off the brakes and then ease into the gas as you come through the turn. Please don't slam on your brakes. I've seen many cars in ditches and people sliding everywhere. It was a sad sight to see. I hope if it snows again, they're better prepared.
I hear you, brother. Speaking of snow, there was snow in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, which is 60 miles west of New Orleans. And, in fact, a friend of mine told me that she saw snow on some rooftops in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Wow.
So that's definitely, I think it snows here about every 20 years. So we could definitely use some of those car driving tips that you dropped on us, Brother Shoot Lokan. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. How about your way, Sister Omilade? What did it look like outside?
I mean, here it snowed earlier, but it's just cold. Now, we're getting prepared for the Super Bowl, so people are out and about, and, the streets are packed. So there's not much going on here. It's actually pretty quiet.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, I have not even been thinking about football lately. I guess I'm one of the few people. Brother,
no.
Brother,
okay.
follow football? Do you follow football at all, brother? SU, or are you busy?
No, I really don't. I can't say that I do. Like I may watch the Super Bowl just because, the commercials. I'm all about the entertainment portion of it. But as far as the sport itself, I really don't follow along with it.
I imagine you're busy taking care of some of those kids you have. And by the way, congratulations on your newest addition.
I do play. Yeah, I think I'm done. And I said that the last time, so I'm just gonna be quiet on what I'm thinking. And just just doing my best, man. My children are definitely a blessing. I love each and every one of them. They're all so different, and they are teaching me every day. Ashe, tell me, now, how many kids do you have all together now, brother? I have 5 children all together. I have 4 girls and 2 boys. I have 2 9-year-olds. I have a 4-year-old. Those are the 3 girls. I have a 2-year-old son, and just a new addition. He'll be a month on Monday. Tomorrow. He'll be a month tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Seems like while some of us have been watching football this season, you were doing other things.
Yes.
I'm glad to hear that you've been so productive, brother. So,
the elders say the good book. One of the good books, to be fruitful and multiply. I got that part down pat. Now I'm just trying to have the money to catch up with that. Well, look, do you have any tips to give any of us other brothers who are not so well endowed with children? Let's just say it like that, endowed with kids. Of course, we're all endowed with other things, right? Well, I guess the first word of advice, just be yourself and just find that one person that you love and have children. That is at the heart of the African traditional spiritual system, family. And, we're all trying to, they say that is the greatest mystery of all, the mystery of having a family, maintaining it, and moving on productively. And that's why we try to be a family-oriented show like 2 weekends ago. We had the show on the midwives and the doulas. And I understand that both the brothers and the sisters learned a lot about that, and we've been getting feedback. Sister Omilade, will you tell us about some of the feedback you got from that particular show dealing with family?
Yeah, well, some of the feedback that I received is that it was very informational. A lot of the people who either were trying to conceive or who had already conceived didn't necessarily think about some of the things that the doulas and the midwives were saying, such as doing positive affirmations every day or the breathing exercises to make their pregnancy easier. And so a lot of the listening audience found that interview very helpful, specifically because the midwives and doulas who were on the show also offered services as well as classes that people could take beforehand to become knowledgeable on the subject. And also, I really appreciated that they brought a spiritual aspect to the show or to, just that process, because the process is very spiritual.
Ashe. Well, the show was dedicated to the Orisha Yemaya, and what can be more family-oriented than a show on Yemaya, So I'm glad that went well, and we were very happy to hear some of the feedback we got. We are planning to follow up in that regard and do some more family-centered programming. Brother Shilo Khan, I would imagine you might have some ideas on some angles we might want to take in terms of family programming. What would your kids like to hear, brother?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the last part.
Yeah. What do you think your young kids might like to hear on the Anu Asafo? You know, we want to be relevant to all age groups, just like Ifa and African traditional spirituality is relevant to all age groups.
Correct. Well, my children, right now they're on some. They like Yo Gabba Gabba. So anything Yo Gabba Gabba, if you have any Yo Gabba Gabba songs, they're kind of on that at this point. But I teach my children basically everything as far as starting with self, before going outside themselves. So anything as far as drumming, music, even how to look at themselves in the mirror and love themselves, regardless of what anyone may say. Love your natural hair. Don't, look at yourself in a negative way, especially my girls. My girls are very, very important, and I make sure that they're going to have high self-esteem once they really get into the world, to always look at themselves in a very high regard. So,
Ashe. Yeah, that is very important. And speaking on that note, I'm happy to say that at the Anu Nation and Spiritual Order, we have brothers and sisters who are very much in the struggle, helping the community rebalance itself. Rebalance its Ori in particular. Sister Felicia Terrell Anu just dropped a new book recently on hair care for all of us, but it has the title. Well, it has the word women in the title. Sister Omilade, I know you are intimately familiar with that project. Would you tell us a little bit about what Sister Felicia has blessed us with?
Yeah, so she has a book on natural hair care for young women, and it basically goes into the beauty and science on hair care and kind of the spiritual background of it, and why it's so important for us to, as women, to maintain our natural beauty, especially for young women, as they're coming of age and they're starting to look at beauty differently. So therefore, she's created a text for all young women out there to look at themselves and look at the spiritual significance of their hair and what to do to keep it nice, beautiful, and spiritually healthy.
Ashe, ashe. And that is a blessing. And, of course, that book was published right here with the Anu publishing, the book publishing aspect of the Anu Nation and Spiritual Order. And all of those things are spearheaded by our illustrious and constantly working and much overworked Chief Jegna Haru Yuya Asan Anu. We want to thank him as much as we can for his continued efforts, and we want to let everybody know out there that his show Foundational Fridays is still burning up the airwaves, enlightening and transforming people as they listen. So we want to let everybody know to please make sure to keep that in mind. Brother Eshu, wanted to ask you about your name, Eshu Lokan, and ask you to tell us not only a little bit about what the name means, but how did you come to that name and on your way to the Anu Order, please?
Okay, excellent. Well, I was given the name one side. I joined a temple when I was in Baltimore for a period of time. The meaning of my name is Eshu opens my heart. I was given that name because the head Babalawo that was there, once he seen me and I guess seen my personality, he was like, yes, this is, Omo Eshu. And so once I studied, the character of Eshu, and I was like, yes, I can definitely see some similarities within that, loving children, having a child at heart. I'm always playing pranks and jokes and things of that nature. I'm actually within my family, I'm a door opener. I was the first child between my mother and my father. I was the first to go to college, first to get married, first to have children. So, SU really, I really related to that Orisha. And that's where I got my name. And I'm also, also a stand-up comedian as well. So.
I see. The Anu Order, the Infundi student body of the Anu Nation and spiritual order has been growing by leaps and bounds recently. In fact, I would say we have to have increased by over 15 to 20 students just in the recent weeks and maybe even month, and just meeting all the new people and learning about the different paths that people have taken coming to the Anu Order is actually inspiring, because we tend to focus on the negative many times, but there is so much positive happening out there. There are so many people who are coming to the light, who are questioning the ideology of the religious orders that have been inculcated on us through enslavement and Jim Crowism and apartheid and imperialism and colonization. And it's just a beautiful thing. On that note, Sister Omilade, we are preparing certain programs now for the coming weeks on the Anu Asafo show that's going to address some of those issues and others. Would you tell us something about what we can expect, what the listeners can expect to hear on the Anu Asafo show in the coming weeks, please?
All right, so some of the things that the listeners can come to expect is, really an in-depth conversation on the things that we experience in the spiritual community on a daily basis, or just as students in the community. Like, one of the shows that I'm really looking forward to is the Mfundi show this fourth Sunday, in which we're going to have students kind of tell us about their walk through the different lessons in Phase 1. And if you listen to the Enlightenment and Transformation by our Chief Jagna, Haruya Timasana Nu, you know that pretty soon Phase 2 is coming out. So for all those still in Phase 1, I urge you to, share your experiences with the fellow Mfundi, because some people are just, sometimes they get stuck because they don't know what to expect in certain lessons, so that everybody can move forward with us to Phase 2.
And now, the ladies and gentlemen can tell one thing who are listening to this show. I'm from the South. Lance is from that area where people speak quickly and slowly. But Sister Omilade is definitely a northerner. The sister can tell words in a rush. Thank you so much for that, sister. One of the guests that we have coming up is a return guest. We have very few return guests. I think in the past we had Baba Barudi. Baba Mulimu Bomani Barudi actually was a return guest. In the first show, we played a rather long, lecture of his, and we talked about him extensively. And the very next week, we came and had a long and extensive interview. But we have a brother called Noble Galileo. He was featured in our astrological show. It was he, and it was headlined by Coach K, Tyra Love. And the brother was so fiery and dynamic that we were receiving calls left and right and feedback for more of him. So I'd like to let the audience know that in next week, we are expecting to have him back, and we are looking forward to that. He will be the headline interview, and the brother talks about astrology on a very deep level, a deep and conscious level, and it's more than just sun sign, moon signs. This brother is, he has integrated many of the different African traditional systems, and in addition to that, he's bringing information like I haven't heard since I listened to Chief Yuya. Chief Yuya drop information. So please be sure to catch Brother Noble Galileo next week. And
Ray, can people call in and get a can people call in and get a free reading? Because I know on some of his shows he allows for people to call in and he tells them about their chart or different transits that are happening.
Well, I definitely hope that will be the case. We're going to try to definitely persuade him to do so. But I tell you, with all the feedback we got, it's obviously going to be a show with a lot of call-ins. So whether he's giving readings or just fielding questions, which tend to run into the same kind of thing, Brother Galileo will be dropping some serious knowledge. So, Brother Ashu, are you familiar? Has your path crossed with the path of astrology in the past?
Yes, but it's kind of on like the tip of the surface. Certain characteristics of the zodiac signs I've looked into, but I haven't really dove into it deep per se. But I definitely am going to. One of the shows that Chief Jagna Yuya had that was very interesting and actually started my journey into the Anu Nation was the show where he related the zodiac signs and the planets to the Orisha, which was a very powerful show. I would recommend you go to the archive in Enlightenment and Transformation and look that up. It's definitely a dope show. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm still learning in that particular area.
Mm-hmm. Shay, and that show can be accessed at the blogtalkradio.com site, and one should look in the search box under Enlightenment and Transformation, and the Enlightenment Transformation Network will pop up, and you will see a lot of the archive shows. And we want to remind everyone to please click on the follow button when you go to the Enlightenment and Transformation Network page on the Blog Talk Radio show. That way you'll get an announcement of coming shows automatically, and I believe on the day of the show, within an hour or so of the show, you get an email saying, hey, we're about to start. So there's so many shows, and most of it is our shows, rather, by Yuya Asan Anu and his foundational Friday flagship show. And there must be over 80 episodes of that program in the archives by now. And one thing I can say to listeners, any show that they listen to, they will be enriched. They will be enlightened and transformed. So that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Sister Omilade, speaking of Chief Yuya, are you familiar with his coming schedule in the next week or two? He is always doing, I know he'll be in Providence, Rhode Island. Could you tell us a bit about that?
So on February 8th, he's going to be in Providence, Rhode Island from 2 to 4 p.m. Doing the Self-Actualization with the Cosmic Forces of West Africa presentation. It's a really great presentation. I mean, people who attended said that they were transformed. It was exactly what they needed to hear at the moment. And they just really enjoyed the presentation because, as you recall, he was at Nicholas Bookstore 2 weekends ago doing that presentation as well. And that's where we got a lot of new students from as well because people really need to hear the message that he's delivering. So I encourage any of you, if you are in the Rhode Island area, so Connecticut, Massachusetts, even New York, and you want to take a drive up there, please check out our Chief Jegna on February 8th from 2 to 4 p.m. in Providence, Rhode Island at Positive New Beginnings Bookstore.
Shay, Positive Beginnings Bookstore, Rhode Island. Providence, Rhode Island. So if they blink, they're going to miss it, right?
If they blink, they're going to miss it. Drive through the state in an hour, maybe an hour and a half. So make sure your GPS is right.
I hear you. Mm-hmm. So speaking of some past shows before, one of our, in fact, I believe the first guest we were blessed to have on the Anu Asafo show was the Chief. But our first non-Anu Nation guest was Oba Anpu, Brother Oba Anpu. And it's with great pleasure that I learned that Brother Anpu is now a member of the Anu Nation in Fundi, the student body. He signed up for the courses, and I've been seeing him taking part on our Facebook group page, and we are happy to have him, and we are hoping and looking forward to him sharing more of his information with us in the future, because Brother Anpu gave a great interview, and he, along with the guest from the week after he came, that was Brother Kwaisi. Very good information. Brother Kwaisi talked a lot about the Akan system out of Ghana. He is a young practitioner, but he is a hard worker and a detailed scholar. And he blessed us with a lot of information. The brother's deep. I remember asking him, what did his name mean? And he has about 3 names in his title. And it was 10 minutes later, and he was finally wrapping up, telling me about his name. So, he is quite detailed-oriented, and we urge all of our listeners to check on Facebook to look up Brother Oba Anpu and do a Google search for Brother Kwaisi. He has I don't think he has a presence on Facebook, but he has a website or 2 that he works on, and the information is just phenomenal. I had to take out a piece of pad and pencil to just start jotting down some of the words that I never heard of before, and trying to prepare, definitions and what have you. So he is bringing a lot to the table. And then the week after that, we of course had Baba Barudi, Baba Mwalimu.
Mwalimu.
Yes.
Mwalimu.
Barudi. Say that name again, sister.
Mwalimu. Barudi.
Yes.
Like you're I hate to say it, but like you're kissing someone, like moi. Like what is that word? Moi. Me in French.
Mwalimu. Bomani Barudi. And of course, Baba Barudi is a strong presence on Facebook, and he has that very successful homeschooling program in the Atlanta area, right there by you, Brother Eshu Lokan. And he has the after-school tutorial program as well. And both the Baba and his partner of many years, were both professors at Morehouse College. They were tenured professors, or at least his wife was, and they were there for over 10 years, and they left the security of that position to start an African-centered homeschooling program. And in addition to just being a serious scholar and an inspiration, Baba Baruti is such a courageous man, he and his family. So it's always a pleasure when I can mention his name on the show. And, yeah. So he's right down there in your area, brother. But,
I'm definitely going to look him up.
Yeah. And he is a practitioner, or at least a scholar, of the Akan priestly order system. So I'm not sure of his full title, but when he says African-centered schooling, he means it. It's not just about, it's not just Pan-African. It's where Pan-Africanism meets African traditional spirituality. So his work is right in line with the work of the Anu Asafo. Another person like that, I don't want to hog the show, but another person I wanted to reach out to is Sister Love, who does a blog talk radio show. She came on, and she is a priestess and phenomenal inspirational speaker and hostess of a blog talk radio show, and just brought so much information once again about the other half, that other half that we hear so little of but we see so much of, and that's the sisters in the tradition, and in any tradition really that you see. We are blessed to have sisters who are conscious, who are serious, and who not just talk the game, but they go out there and they do it. So I guess it's not surprising that so many of the young people are getting their heads on straight, because over the years, decades, and centuries, our sisters have been there for us, strong backbone, and they've been pushing for consciousness. And we want to highlight the sisters more in this show, too. So you hear that out there, sisters? We are not only looking for you, but we want to urge everybody to send us in comments, suggestions for future guests, because we want to integrate more of what the audience is thinking in our programming here. Sister Omilade, any comments on that?
I mean, I definitely agree with you. I mean, if ladies out there, if you have women out there, if you have any guests that you want to see, there's a couple of guests that we're looking into that we think would be very, very informative for the women out there, just about being feminine and, walking in our feminine power. So we're looking for guests that kind of speak to that. And so if you know anybody out there who may speak to that, please email me at omilade@saduduhouse.org.
Ashe. Brother Eshu Lokan.
Yes.
Now, your family unit was recently blessed with a new addition. About that. What is her name, and how old is she today, and just new life into the community, please.
Well, it was actually I have a son, brother. His name is Kwali, which means truth. I believe either Swahili or Akan. And we name our children basically how my wife and I, how the pregnancy is during her pregnancy, the things that happen, the things that come into existence. That's how we name our children. This particular pregnancy, it showed us a lot of truth within ourselves. Truth around us as far as true friends, true family, and things of that nature. This pregnancy was also very challenging because my wife, she had to be on bed rest for almost 4 to 5 months of it. So it was kind of a challenge that we got through together with the help of our true family, true community. We really pulled together and made sure my son came into the world safely. So, I'm excited to have him here. Like I said, he'll be a month on Monday. He's growing beautifully, smiling, getting fat and everything. So very excited to have him here and look forward to what more of the truths that he's going to bring to my family.
Ashe, and that brings joy to my heart, And by the way, you're here getting all the credit, but we need to give a shout out to your better half, who actually did some of that work with you. Please.
Yes, my wife, she is so strong. She's actually, she's a Omo Oya. She's a child of Oya, so she don't play. But and she is so sweet and dedicated. I'm telling you, you'll never find anyone that works harder than my wife. She is a grinder. You hear me? So for her to be on bed rest was a struggle for her, definitely, because she's always moving, transforming, and dealing with the spirit of Oya. Always be prepared to change. We move to different places. Every couple of weeks we're changing, rearranging things in the house. So I love my queen. Her name was Olivia. And culturally, it's Oya Dele. So.
Ashe. And she is a professional person as well, right? She's an artist, if I'm correct.
Yeah, she's a natural hair stylist. She deals with natural hair, and also she owns a earring company, custom earring company called Hypno Ears, which you can find her. Yes, definitely. Any color that you can think of, she can make a color of it. The design, so definitely check her out at hypnoears.com. That's HYPNOEAR.com, hypnoears.com.
Ashe. And I want you to make sure, and if you don't, I will, that we get her website listed at least in the comments section underneath the Blog Talk page we're on, so the audience can get that direct link.
Definitely.
Yeah, brother, you guys do better marketing too. She works too hard for you for you to do the job on that marketing.
You ain't lying. It's bigger than the jokes. You need to push them earrings, brother.
Speaking of jokes, you're not just called the comedian for nothing. You actually perform.
Yes, I do.
Tell us about that, bro.
Well, being a stand-up comedian is awesome, man. I've been doing this for about seven years now. I started in Washington, D.C., and it's an amazing thing because growing up, I was I was a real shy guy, and for me, I wouldn't imagine me being on stage telling jokes. That was one of the most terrifying things I could ever think of, as far as trying to make people laugh that I don't really know like that. So being a comedian I've grown and stretched in so many different ways that it's just been amazing. It's opened so many doors as well. Just being able to communicate and talk to people and make them laugh. I get a joy. It's a two-way street. I love to make people laugh. It's a healing, and if I'm not laughing, something is seriously wrong. And if you're not laughing, I'm doing everything I can to make you laugh.
I hear you. Well, they say laughter is some of the best medicine that's out there. So you actually, in your work, you're actually doing spiritual healing in another fashion without the leaves.
Yes, definitely. I do where I can, man. You know, I let my Ori lead me and guide me to wherever it's needed. You know.
The mayoral race, most of the city council. I would have to say most of it, definitely not all, and judgeships and all kinds of things like that. And so we are still here, kind of on pins and needles, looking forward to the future and the direction that our community is going to take. And we've been having African American representation the 70s, but just this last election, the last European American mayor, Moon Landrieu, his son Mitch Landrieu, won the mayor's race. He's been the mayor, and he's been doing a reasonable job. But things are still not going as fast as many people hope. So he's had a lot of challenges, and that was a sizable turnout yesterday. So things are still up pins and needles. But I just wanted to give a quick little shout out to my New Orleans, community, and for the people who voted. I wanted to say thank you, and for the people who didn't vote, I want to say let's do a little bit more next time. And for the people who had no intentions of voting, how about consider it? How about just consider voting? In New Orleans, of course, we have the voodoo tradition that goes back several centuries, and we actually did a cultural spotlight on African New Orleans culture, particularly the Marie Laveau tradition. And I just want to mention that there's a homeschool starting by the name of the Marie Laveau Academy, and I'm going to be involved in that intimately. And I just wanted people to know that we the Queen, Marie Laveau here, and that we are still fighting to bring consciousness to the community, and particularly the young people. So it's not Atlanta, and it's not the New York, New Jersey area quite yet, but we are still moving forward, and we hope that that this election brings forth new burgeoning opportunities for all of us. Is there anything happening particularly different in the Atlanta area that you're hearing about, brother? Of course, there's always drama in Atlanta. But anything particular?
Okay, you was breaking up a little bit, brother.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was asking, Atlanta is a hotbed of consciousness community, and there's a lot of drama that's always happening out there. But with some of the changes, half of Atlanta is from New Orleans. So I like to keep my ear to the ground about what's happening out there in Atlanta and Houston, too. Any new developments happening that you are aware of in the Atlanta area these days, dealing with either the Pan-African or the African traditional community?
Well, since I've been down here, I moved down here in 2008. And I got into the culture about 2 years ago. So the presence is definitely down here. Definitely pockets of conscious people here in the community. But with anything, you have your good and you have your bad. For the most part, I've seen good works within the community, and there's always room for growth, and there is some growth that's down here. And I think one thing that we could do is, try to come together on a larger scale instead of kind of keeping it separate. Different, belief systems. We should all, I consider all African spiritual systems, one of the things in some different aspects. So I think coming together as one more would be very powerful and benefit, Africans as a whole.
Ashe. And we are at the top of the hour. A new Asafo show where Pan-Africanism meets African traditional spirituality. And we're here with our host, Sister Omilate, Brother Chulo Khan, joining us here this week, and myself, Brother Wole Mango Ifa. We have been, obviously, Brother Curtis Davis was scheduled to join us this weekend, and because of unforeseen issues, we have not been able to raise him. We've had, let's say, technical difficulties, but we're still moving forward, and we hope to be back in touch with the brother because the work he's been doing at TON, the Occult Network, on the Blog Talk Radio .com format has just been fantastic. He's been a beacon over a long period of time, bringing forth occult knowledge and information. And, of course, by the word occult, we mean hidden knowledge and information. And the brother has taught some of our leading community practitioners, including our illustrious Chief Jegna, Haruyuya Asan Anu. So it's really a disappointment that we ran into technical difficulties. But we are still holding it down here, and we will be for now and the foreseeable future. Sister Omilade, are you there?
I am here.
Okay. Well, let's go to our second break. And when we come back, we will be wrapping up and telling once again about the coming shows and wrapping up this one. So, Sister Omilade, please bring us home.
According to legend, there was a time when Earth was pure, free of all evil, unicorns, pearl-paved pathways, skies so bright, and night no problem. When only positivity polluted the conscience, and something went wrong. My name is Insight. Let's go. Waterfall slows down, breeze, the sun leaves. Cumulus clouds overshadow the area. A cave had appeared with a glowing interior. Inferior primates appeared at the seashore. Search for the knowledge in a natural resource. Mile-foul power in the course of a narrow path leads to sacred tribelands that expanded to a huge community. These clouds now make room for you and me. Machinery be used, spread more pollution. Scientific breakthroughs form illusions. Positive intentions make the negative easy. See these from a spectacular species. Reach keys in life, mixing your own formula. Curing the conscious, develop the medicine. Practical principles expose better things. It's the God. Of your people. It's the God.
Ashe, and we are back. You're with the Anu Asafo show where Pan-Africanism meets African traditional spirituality with your host, Sister Omilade, Brother Eshu Lokan, and me, Brother Wole Mango Ifa. And it is 4 minutes after the hour. And before we move any further, we have a caller on the line. So let's get to that. Caller, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I don't know if I'm unmuted.
Oh yeah, you're there, Chief. Sounds like a familiar voice. Chief.
Yeah,
Greetings.
Yeah, I just wanted to call in and just add some energy. I had a couple of minutes before my next reading, so I was listening in, and I wanted to add in, and I of course will be in conversation with Brother Curtis. We talk a lot offline, so we'll work it out, and we'll make sure the brother is able to make an appearance. He was very much looking forward to it, and he had spoken to me actually yesterday, and he said he wanted to get in touch and get moving on it. So we'll get that happening. But again, I was just listening in and really enjoying what people were speaking on, and you guys, as always, are doing a wonderful job at what you're doing here. And I just wanted to put some thoughts out there, some thoughts in the air in terms of the things that you all are talking about, especially Brother Eshu Lokan, who is new to this space. And one of the things that we were speaking on is how the communities are moving regionally and nationally. And, obviously we all want to see some greater level of unity. We want to see some greater level of congruency between our movements so that we can kind of move in one sync and on one accord. And sometimes that gets a bit difficult because as you go from region to region, even town to town, oftentimes the agendas are completely different or the perspectives are completely different. And that's where some of the challenges come in, especially for those of us who are also invested in traditional spirituality and traditional systems. Often we're seen as a problem. We're seen as a problem by those who may feel that they're progressive. So I kind of wanted to throw that out there, throw that in the mix of the dialogue in terms of really where do we find the line of demarcation between community togetherness, coming together and making sure that we don't conform to the point that we actually dilute what it is that we're here to do.
Ashe. Chief, while we have you here on the air, do you have time before your next reading to field a question or two, or not really?
Sure, that's not a problem.
Okay. Well, Chief, one of the things that is part of our teachings with our New Order, especially in the classroom, is the exercise that teaches us or tests us on the notion of finding out who's one's patron Orisha. Mm-hmm. And we do that by using a chart which deals with planetary alignments and things like that. I've spoken to people in the past who have been told different things by different people about who their patron Orisha is. Is there what would be your advice to someone who's kind of lost and wondering about who is their patron and how best to find out who that energy is?
Right. Ultimately, you have no patron Orisha. Okay. When we think about what a patron is, someone who patronizes, someone who supports, someone who sponsors. You don't really have an Orisha that sponsors you. You haven't, even in that particular exercise, it's not necessary to determine what Orisha family you were born out of or how it's commonly phrased, who crowns your head or what Orisha is on your head, but more so to see what Orisha strengths and weaknesses that you came through this lifetime with, and maybe some of the ones that you had in your last lifetime. So when you're looking at, who crowns your head or what that patron is, oftentimes it will morph and shift depending on who you're speaking to, because you're projecting something in a different season, or at different seasons you have different energies that are strong with you or that are working with you, or you may be able to tap into. Certain seasons, and we're speaking in terms of a timeline, certain seasons the energy of certain Orisha are raised up higher than the others. Okay, it's higher in that season. So now if you're one who's able to tap into the current and the flow of that season, and you walk into a room, someone's going to say, you're this, you're that. But what it is that you're exuding the flow that is present right now in the cosmos, or the flow that is most prevalent in the cosmos. So people will get confused when you're reading who is on your head. Certainly, after a while, from working with people for so long, yes, we can see. And when I say we, I'm speaking of our world. Oftentimes, we can see, and we'll, or we just see the signs that are there, or the energy that's there, and we can say, okay, this one's an Eshu, this one's an Oshun, this one's an Ochosi. You could just kind of feel it, you can kind of see it. But in reality, officially, that is done through divination. That is done through Ifa divination. It could even be done through Dilagoon divination. So an Orisha priest can also determine that, even if that Orisha priest is not a priest of that particular Orisha that they discover on you. Okay, but that is mainly done through Odu. So people will see a lot of different things based on what you're projecting, how you're projecting, and it can get confusing. A lot of times people are Oshuns and they get mixed with Shangos because the energy is so similar. Or you have Oguns and Oyas, and most of the time if people come with the energy that's similar to Ogun or Oya, if they're male, they'll say they're Ogun. If they're female, they'll say they're Oya. But that's not actually accurate. There are a lot of male Oya priests, and there are a lot of female Oguns. But again, it's sometimes that feeling or that projection is based on our cultural and social understanding of what a male and a female should be, or who should hold certain energy. Like when we think of Ogun and militancy, we think men should hold the ideas and the notions of militancy, without understanding that a mother who prepares a healthy meal for her family is engaged in militancy, because there's a war that's being waged on the populace just through food. So, it will vary. Now, the other aspect of that is also that, in truth, you already know what Orisha family you were born of. In truth, you really don't need a reading to tell you that. Those readings are supposed to be done when you're an infant. And that's to tell your parents. That's not necessarily to tell you. You already know. You've had dreams. You've had visions. They've come to you. They've spoken to you. So 9 times out of 10, when you're doing that reading for a client, they're going to turn around and say, that's what I thought. I suspected that. I knew that. It's just when you start encountering other people and maybe they misunderstand. A lot of time when you have our wolves, a woman comes to their shells or to their iken or their opwele, and they have a hankering for that woman. Immediately now that woman is Oshun. And because she's Oshun, she has to now marry Orumila, because Orumila was the only one who ever really got Oshun. And me being Babalao, you have to be my Apatebi. So it can get a little tricky in that sense. But oftentimes the family that you were born out of. And that's how I kind of coin it. We were born out of certain Orisha families. That's the flavor and the taint and the character that we came to the world with. And your patron is your Ori. That's who's sponsoring you. That's who's providing you spiritual currency or money or ashe, not the Orisha.
Ashe. And Adukwero, we all thank you for that information, Chief. Sure. Speaking on the subject of divination, if you have enough time for another question,
sure.
The Obi system, where the non-priest can do personal divination. There is the 5-position Obi system that gives yes and no answers, and then there's the 9-position Obi system that gives greater information. When is one not ready to deal with the 9-position Obi? And when is one ready, or what constitutes one being ready to ask a question that goes beyond the yes and no answer, as opposed to going to a trained and competent priest to get a fuller reading?
Well, I teach children. When I first started teaching African spirituality and African calculation, my first classes actually were with children. I didn't begin to teach adults into my instructor at that time. He started, and this was who initiated me into, well, one of my initiations. He started sending my fellow initiates to me for classes because he was saying, well, you're kind of moving faster than everybody else, and the way you teach is really is only more clear than how I teach. So I'm going to send them to you, and you teach them. So that's how I began to take on adult students. I had no desire to teach adults, because they're much harder to teach than children. And the truth is, children are much more amazing when it comes to spirituality because they actually do real magic. You'll see their stuff work instantly, like that afternoon. So I worked with children for a long time, introducing them not only to the culture, but to the spirituality. So one of the questions that parents would ask me is, well, when can I bring my child? How young is? And I would always say, and this is the truth, the moment your child can knows their left from their right, they're ready to learn. Okay, as long as the child knows the left from the right, I can teach them. All right, so the children would learn OB5, and we would immediately go into 9-position OB. And we would not only go into 9-position OB, but we would also go into casting Odu. There's a form of 5-position OB casting that I didn't put in my book and I don't teach too often, but it only deals with 5 of the sacred Odu. And this is cast in certain areas of Nigeria using the kola nut as well. So that is what I would teach the children. And again, anyone who knew left from right, they were ready to go. And whether they were 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, and they were learning it and they were reciting the Pata keys and they were fine. So when is one ready to begin? Well, if you know your left and right, you can start getting into 9-position OB divination. The 5-position divination is really just to get you used to not only trusting your cast, but get you used to distinguishing between when you're enacting psychotelekinesis and when you're actually enacting your psychic awareness. And the psychic telekinesis is when you are moving the shells with your own mind, which is very possible. You can, I used to do that for the children all the time. They would get a kick out of it. And I'd say, look, I'm going to cast Alafia 5 times. And I would just keep going 5 times. But I'm moving it with my mind, no different than how you would move a dowser pendulum with your mind. So when you start practicing and working with that 5-position, which is not actually traditional, just so you all know, 5-position is not actually traditional, nor is using the coconut, which is the agbani. So if you go to Nigeria with your coconut in your bag, you're going to get laughed out of the village, okay? So they're going to say, oh, that's agbani. That's not obi. Obi is kola nut. That's coconut. So, but it's a practice tool, but it's actually, it's an effective and it's a correct tool, but it's something that we kind of brought over or we re-engineered here, because we didn't have access to our kola nut. So it really is just more to get you in tune with how your mind speaks, how the Orisha speak to you, and to get you out of the habit of asking vain questions, which 5-position is excellent for because you're only getting a yes or no. So it's like yes, but then why? Well, the why is what you have to intuit and think about. So it starts to sharpen those intuition and those psychic and your instinctual abilities. And then by the time you get to 9, you kind of have a trust for the shells or for the kola nut. You have a trust for them at that point. But I suggest people to start immediately. And that especially, I will say, goes for those who have read my book, Grasping the Root of Divine Power. There are too many people who are racing through it. If you've read my book, Grasping the Root of Divine Power, and you do not have an OB set, you did not read my book. Because until you're really doing divination, you don't understand the rest of the book. Okay, so it's not just enough to just read it, because I wrote the book specifically so you could read it in about 2-3 days. I did that on purpose. But as many people know, once you start applying the exercises in the book, everyone has said the same thing. I had to go back and read again because now the exercises illuminated different aspects of the book that I didn't pick up the first time around. So that was carefully crafted. I did that on purpose. So the divination aspect is important. Make your coconut set, make your kola set. And if you haven't done that, you really have not understood grasping the root of divine power. As the saying goes for the Our New Spiritual Training, people just listen to the lectures on their phone while they're driving to work, and they skip their activities and say, okay, I'm ready for phase 2. The personality that would just skip through it like that is not ready for phase 2. Because I'll tell you, by the time you complete phase 1 thoroughly, through activity, through study, through knowing every term that I mentioned in there, you have most stuff than most owls out there. You're pretty much a priest at that point. You know, so if you're racing through it and then you're still asking some very basic questions, or you cannot break down the Kabbalah tree, if you cannot break down the Tetragrammaton and associate it with your Orisha energies, if you do not know 9-position Obi, then you haven't gotten through phase 1. All right, so anyone can start whenever they're ready if they know left from right, but it doesn't mean that you're ready to fully complete that journey. It's not an arduous one, but it definitely is an intense one.
Shay. And I have read your book, Grasping the Roots of Divine Power, The Root of Divine Power, and I can tell I need to go back and read it again. And I will do so. But once again, we thank you, Chief Yuya Anu, for coming in, touching base with us, and letting us know everything's okay with our missing guest. And I wanted to ask you about a rumor I heard. I read that somewhere that you might be working on writing a book of fiction. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, there is actually. Not sure how that one got out, but I have a series that I've been working on, and it started out as a teen series, and of course, because it's me, it has metaphysical underpinnings, and my original intention was to write an African-centered Harry Potter, okay, but not necessarily copying Harry Potter, who really is a copy of, because it's just Ankh. You know, Harry Potter is none other than Anpu or Anubis. But my intention was to give something to young children of conscious parents that really was of quality and could really represent a saga of sorts, you know, and maybe one day it could go to film, but really a series set. So I've been working on that and for over a year or two, because it's really complex the way I have the different books strung together. And it's not written in ancient times per se. It's written more in a contemporary setting, but it's got an interesting twist in that it goes from contemporary time to no time. Okay, so there's some interdimensional travel within it. But, you know, when I first started, it was a book for teens, but it was loosely based. The first book in the series is loosely based on some occurrences and incidents in my own life and in my own childhood. And, you know, being that one born out of that Ogun family that I am, when by the time I started writing and detailing certain experiences, the book became so violent that I said, you know, I don't even know if I can present this to teens. Now, I know, as I was told by Omi Lade, who's also in education, you know, a lot of the teen books are, they just go over the top. They curse now, and they have sex scenes and everything like that. So I'm not necessarily sure if I want to fall into that genre or present that type of image to children. So it's taken me a bit of time to craft and recraft and make it authentic, but at the same time make it something that is nutritious and that really presents a healthy bonding experience for a child with their imagination. So I can't say it's soon coming, but it definitely, because it's taken me so long, I work on it pretty frequently in between my off time, which is very, very sparse. But it's something that's going to be pretty amazing once it's done. It's going to be pretty amazing, the entire series, and I think it will be something that people will have in their libraries for decades, that they'll be able to share with their children. Just like people have all the Harry Potter series, this will be a series that will not only introduce young children to metaphysics, but it will also, I think, encourage young children to write their own narratives and to write their own stories.
Ashe. Well, I thank you for, thinking about the kids and looking to inspire them that way. You're always giving. You're always so giving to other people, and we don't say we thank you and respect you enough. So, thank you. We respect you.
Thank you so much. It's mutual. It's mutual. The fact that there's an acknowledgement is what makes the work more real. So thank you.
Ashe. Chief Jegna, Yuya Hassan Anu of the Anu Nation and Spiritual Order. Thanks for stopping in, Chief, and we look forward to hearing you again on your next broadcast.
All right, no problem.
Ashe.
Enjoy your day. Odabo.
Odabo.
Odabo. It is 25 minutes after the hour, and this has been the Anu Asafo Show. Brother Ashu Lokan, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Ashe. Carry on.
All right. You can join us here at the Anu Asafo Show each and every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 noon Central Standard Time, and, of course, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for another enriching installment of the Anu Asafo Show for next week.
All right. So, of course, this has been another Enlightenment and Transformation Network show where we today just presented a wide variety of things that we offer within the new spiritual order, as well as, products that we may be coming out with in the future. But we want to leave you guys just with, as always, some information, and we hope that you will call back again next week. So, until next Sunday, Odabo.
Odabo.
Peace. Odabo and peace.
We thank you for your listening support and urge you to become an active participating member. For all those listening, if you'd like to gain a clearer and fundamental understanding of the Anu Order, be sure to pick up the book, Grasping the Root of Divine Power. To find out how you can become a student and member of the Anu Spiritual Order, please visit us at saduluhouse.com. That is saduluhouse.com. Also, if you would like spiritual readings and assistance in your life as it pertains to your spiritual well-being and your divine purpose, please use the contact and scheduling forms to schedule a consultation with our Chief Jegna, Haru Yuya Asan Anu. Those forms are located at orishareligion.com. That is orishareligion.com, as well as are at saduluhouse.com. Also, sign up for the Anu newsletter for the latest happenings in the Anu community. The newsletter can be found by going to anunation.org. That is ANUNATION.org. If you'd like to become an on-air guest or sponsor on Anu Asafo or any of our other broadcasts, please be sure to contact us at questions@anunation.org. That is the word questions@anunation.org. Thank you for your continued support, and be well.